Let's bring in at this time, we're going to hit the pause button, criminal defense attorney Sam Bassett. Sam, thank you so much for joining us today here on Court TV. I want to start at the beginning of the case because we're just starting to hear some of the testimony, what allegedly happened, the state's case. And the first thing I want to address is the motive. We know that's not an element of the crime, but the motive in this is that troubled marriage. Do you think that's enough, Sam, to say to a jury this is why she did it?
No, it's not. I think prosecutors will tell you all the time in trials, we're not required to prove motive. They will emphasize that, especially when the case, it's not an obvious motive. However, on the flip side, if they have a motive that seems to be a good motive to justify their theory of the case, they will definitely emphasize that in their trial, in their presentation of the case. So yes, motive is important, but it is not proof beyond reasonable doubt at all.
Okay, so let's talk about that proof so far. The first responder giving some really emotional things for the jury to think about. When you hear a description of the victim, 70% burned, skin falling off, and the tire tracks he's just now starting to talk about. The fact that two of the oldest sons said, yeah, we believe our mother murdered our father. These are the pieces that the prosecution's putting together. What kind of picture is it starting to form for you as an attorney?
Well, it's a fairly typical presentation by prosecution, a chronologically oriented type of presentation. So they're starting and going through the timeline of going to the scene, finding him, and laying the bricks of the building of their case. So the emotions of describing his skin falling off and just the sadness of the situation of the mouth to mouth with not being able to get any air in his airway, those are kind of emotional tugs that come with evidence when somebody has died or been killed, for sure. So they're laying the groundwork for the more the nuts and bolts of the case that should come later.
Yeah, I agree with you. We always want to keep the victim in mind, front and center. Todd Sturmer, the victim in this case, which means all of his family, friends, loved ones are victims as well. Sam, stay with us if you would, please. Coming up, more testimony in the battered and burned murder trial. Still with us, criminal defense attorney Sam Bassett. Sam, let's talk about the fact that the wife allegedly beat him up, burned him, and then ran him over the van. We've just heard some testimony about blood on the bumper. Focus on that third piece of running over the van. Your thoughts?
Well, the prosecution's going to have to tie the blood on the bumper to the injuries that were reported by the medical examiner. So I think they still have some work to do. Obviously, the first reaction is, oh, blood on the bumper, it's bad news for the defendant. But I think the defense has hinted in some interviews that they have some biomechanical expert or maybe other experts who may contest that the injuries that caused his death or the injuries to his body, were caused by the van running him over. So.
Yeah, and it's interesting that she says, I was in the laundry room and then there was a fire in the house, but he'd been beat up before that, allegedly. I don't know that so far her story matches what they're going to say forensically happened.
Yeah, it's a problem for her, but it'll be interesting to see what the defense does on cross-examination here. They're going to have to set the table for some of their defense with regard to the blood on the bumper and the death being, the van being a cause.
That's right. Good point that she proclaims her innocence. All right, Sam Bassett, of course, thank you for joining us this hour. Coming up next, Michael Ayala joining me for more testimony from the battered and burned murder retrial for Linda Sturmer. Stay with us. We'll be right back.